Good evening and welcome to the Speak Easy podcast. I am your host, Constance Willard, and tonight here at the Speak Easy is Couples Night. Yes, tonight is Couples Night, and I have two amazing couples here tonight, and they're here to discuss and to share what is the glue that holds them together. And so I'm going to bring our guests to the stage. First, I have Daniel and Latasha Williams, and they're from Columbia, South Carolina. Good evening. How are you?
Hi.
Hey, great evening.
Okay, great to have you guys, and thank you so much for coming to the Speak Easy to share and to tell what is your glue. And so, Daniel and Natasha, just kind of tell the listening audience who you are and what it is that you do.
First.
I am Latasha Williams. I am the manager at Dash Courier and Logistics, also the owner of Rich Finds of Paparazzi. I sell paparazzi jewelry.
Okay, great.
And I'm Daniel J. Williams. I'm a mindset coach. And what I do is I just show men how to identify and how to walk away from certain behaviors and patterns that keeps them living in cycles of frustration. I'm also an author. Just got my second book published. Think on Your Thoughts, Volume 2.
Yes.
It's available on Amazon now. I also host a podcast on Spotify, the Act Accordingly series, and I am also a speaker as well. So I'm broadening my horizons as time continues. And I thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your platform.
Oh, no problem. And I thank you because we met on a platform as speakers, Unleashing the Beast Within with Crystal Josiah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's how we met. And we just kind of been interacting on social media ever since. So I thank you guys for joining us. Now, how long have the two of you been married?
We've actually been married for 1 year.
Okay.
June of 2023 will be 2 years.
Okay, great. Okay. And so prior to you getting married, how long did you date?
About a year and a half?
Okay.
About a year and a half.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. And our next dynamic couple is Corey and Toy Watts, formerly of Gulfport, Mississippi, now residing in Laurel, Mississippi. And so, good evening. How are you, Corey and Toy Watts?
Hello. Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us. So tell the listening audience who you are and what it is that you do.
I am Toy Watts. I'm the superintendent of the Laurel District in Laurel, Mississippi. I'm a veteran educator. This is year 27 for me.
Wow. Okay. Great.
And I am Corey Watts. To my members, I'm the pastor of St. Paul AME Church in Gulfport, Mississippi.
Yes.
They call me Pastor. And I am also a cyber engineer for the Army Corps of Engineers of the United States of these Americas.
Okay. All right. Well, I thank the two of you for coming on and joining us. And how long have you and Toy been married?
Yes. How long have we been married?
Oh, you forgot.
Yeah.
That's what it was. 22, so we've been married 23 years.
23 years. And how long did you date prior? Because I remember when you guys first started dating, you were college students.
Yeah. October 3rd, 1997.
Okay. Do you even know the time, Corey? You got the date and year, so you know what time?
By 7.
Okay.
We met first. I was the rehearsal day, but we dated almost 2 years before we got
married. Okay, great.
October 3rd, 97.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. And so tonight we're going to talk about the glue that holds you together. And longevity in marriage is just not something that we see a whole lot of this day and time. And so I just want to kind of have a dialogue as far as what does it take for couples to make it in marriage and not break it. So I'm going to start with Daniel and Latasha. What is your glue?
The glue that holds us together is definitely God. It's definitely God. And I say that because we come from two different ends of the spectrum. Meaning, I've been married before, and so has he. And in his prior marriage, he was a cheater. In my prior marriage, my husband was the cheater. And so I had been separated from my previous husband for a very long time. And during that time, I had to pray for God to actually uh, heal me and give me deliverance because I knew that I wanted to be a wife. I didn't want to be single. And I didn't want to actually be with another person that was doing the same thing that he did. So this relationship actually was divine. It was all God because I would have never uh, gotten into a relationship with him had it not been God. Period.
All right. All right. Okay, so Daniel, what's your glue? What kind of glue stick you using in your glue gun?
Well, I can say basically the same thing. I mean, it was God, but the fact of I guess when we actually started dating and started talking, we started off with all honesty. I put it all on the table in front. I let her know all of what I was before. After her telling me her story about what she went through in her previous marriage, I let her know that that's exactly what I was before, and that I when I it just came to a point where it was too late for me to be able to save that marriage. I just done too much, and then I didn't believe that I would be able to, that the Lord would allow me to be able to go forth and actually find that kind of love, find love like that again. But it's definitely God and in complete honesty. And we ended up being like the very best of friends. We actually went to the same church together for a period of time. And I think over the past year and a half that we were going to the same church, we probably said 12 words to each other.
Wow.
And then it just ended up that from a revival. It was a revival.
Yeah.
It was a revival, and there was a speaker, and the speaker kept coming to me and kept saying faithful, 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 faithful to me. And what did she say?
She was just saying that God said that he was faithful, and God said that she asked him if he was married, and he said no. And she said, "Well, surely your wife is in the building." And at that point, because we were sitting on the same row, but it was like 2 or 3 chairs between us. But it was like it was a joke because I had like a kick in the pit of my stomach. And I started chuckling. I had to grab my mouth and I was like, because it was like, well, who is in here that we can marry? Because everybody else is too old or too young. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready yet. But prior to that, I would say maybe like 2, 3 months prior to that, I was sitting on the couch and my sister and I were talking, and I was looking at TV, and out of the blue, I just told God what I wanted in a man, and shortly went from there.
Okay, great, great. Okay, so Corey and Toy, and I'm going to start with Toy. What is the glue that holds the two of you, or that has held the two of you together, and that continues to hold you together?
Well, I'm gonna Daniel Latasha and say definitely God. There is absolutely no way that we would have made it this long without God. And we met, like he said earlier, at his a girl that was my best friend was marrying his brother, and we met at the rehearsal.
Okay.
Pretty funny because I had recently been in a relationship where I told God I was going to wait as long as he wanted me to, but I was no longer going to pick for myself because I wasn't doing a good job. And I met Corey, and it was so funny because we went to, he was younger. Corey is younger than I am. And so my mind was nowhere near that. And when we went to the rehearsal dinner, we cracked this joke all the time. We talk about that when we both pulled up to Ryan's, because that's where we were going to have our rehearsal dinner. When he got out of the car, I was thinking, oh, he's so young, he's, just not where I am. And when he got out of the car, he opened up his trunk and he pulled out this blazer and he put the blazer on. And it was like, I told him, I said, the moonlight was shining on him. And it was like, God said, this is him. Because all of a sudden, he no longer looked like a young man to me. He looked like a man. And I was like, okay, maybe I saw, maybe I saw this wrong. And so the rest is history, I guess.
So Corey's all in that blazer, huh? It's all in the blazer.
It's the blazer. Right. See what? Because I was still in college. I just went over Omega. I'm feeling myself. She the detail of the part, my brother was getting married. She was the maid of honor. I was the best man. So we walked up the aisle together for that. We ended up walking down later.
Mm-hmm.
We got together. Yeah, I did throw the jacket on because that was my, I kept it in case I wanted to, turn my swag on.
Yeah.
We got the Ryans. And the short story, me and a couple of my guys from college, we were going to the wedding rehearsal. And we was like, we riding down from college. I'm like, hey man, it's a wedding, right? Chick's gonna be ready. So you gonna pick us one, you get one, you get one, you get one. We got to the church, and he picked one, and somebody picked one, the other picked one. I'm like, okay, cool. But we got in there, we started talking, and I said, hey bro, we gotta switch up because that thick one over there grooving with me. So we gotta figure this out. And he's all right, man, we go switch. We dapped up, we switched. And we got there. I said, I'm pulling out the jacket, bro. He said, what? I said, I'm pulling out the jacket.
Right.
I put the jacket on, put a little brood on.
Okay.
She didn't smell biscuits. She was smelling.
Okay. The rest is history.
The rest is she fell so in love.
Okay.
So in love.
So for all you men out there who are on the search,
yes.
Okay. For all you men who are out there on the search, pass up. Corey says you got to have a blazer.
You gotta have it's the like a smoking jacket.
Yeah.
What was it?
He don't have it. He won't let us. You can't donate it to Goodwill.
I can still fit it.
We have to keep that. That is a very important piece of history. So
I'm gonna pass down to my son.
I was gonna say pass it down to your son. There you go. There you go. There you go.
What she didn't mention, you mentioned the glue that hold us together. We were put together as a joke. Actually, my brother and his then wife, fiance, had a bet on who was gonna have who doing whatever. They had a $1 bet about hooking us up, and they hooked us up. And now, the third, by 27, she was deep in love. She's always at the house. I came home from school, and then by Christmas we were official. No, 27 we were official.
Mm-hmm.
And I was young. I said, look, I want to meet a woman on the coast with some benefits and stay, because I don't want to go to mama's house.
All right.
It's true.
It's true. You're right. Let's be honest.
And I was young. We was just having fun. And I was like, hey, man, I got me on the coast, dapping my boys up. He said, man, you got you a good one. I said, I know. And but like everybody and everything seemed to point to it's time to chill out. Mm-hmm. She didn't mention the wedding. We went to the reception dinner, I guess you can call it.
Oh Lord.
We went to one restaurant and the stuff went bad. It wasn't us, it went bad. We went to another restaurant and she was sitting down there cold. She had on her little bra, she was cold, and I'm sitting down there. I had on my wasn't the jacket, but it was tuxedo. But it was American, right? Okay. And so she was down there cold, and my mama was sitting down there beside her. And we was at a long table. And she said, Corey, bring your jacket down here. This girl down here cold.
There were 10 probably men between Corey, and me. We
And her
always,
ex-boyfriend was in there.
so we always credit Mama to making sure that it was going to happen, because she
Yes,
called
indeed.
the side of the table to bring that jacket to me.
I'd already I said, hey, she was feeling me in that jacket. I told Mama, I'll tell everybody, hey, yeah, she feeling me. You go try it. I'm gonna see what I can do. I don't know. She might not be able to handle all this that I have to offer. But yeah, it worked. So Mama wanted me to bring the jacket. So I bought the jacket and put on her shoulder, and she grabbed it and she said,
That's his version.
that's the glue.
Okay, that's the
That's what we still together.
Yeah.
okay.
I
And you
don't
know what? Leave it to Mama to fix it up. Okay, leave it to Mama. Yes, indeed. So Mama had a hand in this thing. So she was a part of the glue as well.
My
Yes.
mama, everybody knew that. Like, she nice. She a teacher. She a good girl. I'm like, yeah. And it worked. Let me bring, I got plenty of jokes. Here's the thing. I was young, 14, 15. I saw all my friends dating and stuff, right? And I'm like, I don't really want to date because I'm cheap and I don't want to spend no money. So, like a fool, at 15, I got on my knees. I said, Lord, look, I don't want to do all this dating because it look expensive. So if you would send me the women that prepare me for my wife, and then if my wife help me to know that's her, I don't want to mess around. I didn't know I was praying. God sent me a series. They're not foolish women. They prepared me and showed me some things that I want and didn't want. And so when I did meet her and I was just young and having fun, early in the process, I said, okay, yeah, she can be my wife. I told my friends. I told Mama on them. Early. Might have been the day after. So yes, everybody kind of understood and they saw it and they was feeling it. I'm like, okay, she feeling me. So that part worked. And the rest is history. Now that's the truth.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And you're sticking to it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hallelujah.
So with that being said, you talked about your glue. So how does career and family work within this situation? I mean, you're both career oriented, you're busy, you've got children, how does all that fit together? So I'll start with Daniel and Latasha.
Well, the fact that we married later in life, we didn't start out from extremely young, but we're still young. In fact, you know what? Your story is so similar because she thought that I was too young for her. She didn't want a young boy. She like, I don't want somebody I have to teach something. But but it came around. We were near the same age, so it worked out. But how we work it out is, so our kids are adults now, so it's not really a matter of us having to really deal with children. And as far we work together, actually, and it works out because us working together, it's kind of teaching us what we're doing as far as going ahead in the business that we're starting. But outside of her being like my greatest cheerleader and my greatest supporter, and the fact that I have her beside me right now, and me being, I told her before, because I'm a public speaker and I'll be doing podcasts and traveling, doing speaking engagements, you're going to be on stage with me. Nice. And this is the start of it. So it works out because, we both have the same mind and going in the same direction. We don't bump heads on anything, actually. And I won't say it's scary, but it's a beautiful thing. And because we talked about it in the beginning about of having, I'm a little more, I have a more of aggressive, assertive nature about me, and she's a lot more reserved. So I listen, when I talk, I know that it may come off like I'm being like rah rah or telling you or demanding, but that's not what it is. So we actually learned each other's personalities real well. We never had to bump heads or had any bad disagreements or walk around with any moments of friction in between us. And that's such a wonderful thing. So everything we do, we spending time together. I mean, my best friend. So it's being from our dating to our being married now, it seemed like we've been together longer than the 3, 4 years now. It seems like we've
Right.
actually been spending a lifetime.
Wow. Wow. And you know, the picture that the two of you sent for your graphic. And let me tell you what I liked about that picture. Latasha, you're standing behind him, but you got your hands posed up on his back as though you're saying, what you sent the message is, I've got his back.
I do.
I have his back.
Definitely.
That's the message that photo sent to me. I have his back. So I just want to let you know I like that. And so Corey and Toy, how do you blend it all and make it work?
Ooh. I would love to say that we don't, but that is not true. That is not true. And we were married. What I will say is God is divine and he is so wise. If you had asked us when we first got married what we wanted to do next, it would have been to have kids immediately. Always wanted children. I knew from a young person I wanted children. I wanted a family. I used to want 6 kids. And
I still married.
We did not have our first child until we had been married 11 years.
Yeah, I remember
that. We prayed and prayed, of course, for that child and really thought that was going to be went to fertility. That's a whole nother story. But we had our first child 11 years in, and that changes the nature of the relationship. Like we were best buds, could pick up and go whenever we get ready. And then we had a child, and of course, you know, that changes everything. Like, you know, now you have to make adjustments for someone. And I was 36 when I had her, 39 when I had my son, and he was a shock. I wasn't expecting him. So that was pretty exciting. And when I had 2 kids, I couldn't hardly keep it together. Career, supportive spouse, mama. Yeah. Anyway, the last child, actually, she was sure enough a surprise. I had a big career change and I moved from school level management to district level executive, and that changed everything and added a lot of stress to our relationship. And actually, we were contemplating splitting up, or at least I was. I mean, it just going well. But when we decided to go to a therapist, and in that therapy session, she said you can't let work get in between what you want with your family. Mm-hmm. And that was actually why I even suggested a therapist, because I started crying in my office and I said, surely God didn't give me everything I wanted as far as a spouse and children and the career I want, for them not to coexist. And so that was what kind of led us to the therapy. And so she said, young lady, she said, the world is going to push you to be, she said, especially if you have so many aspirations. And she said, the world is going to push you to keep going. And she said, but if your family is important to you have to really schedule time for them. She said, she said, it's going to be there when you get back. And it was almost like I had permission to reset the way that I was going. You know, I was trying to make a change and doing some things and giving it my all. And so we booked a trip immediately after that, went to Disney World, took the 2 kids, and he and I had been in each other's throats. So the kids were so happy to see us actually smiling and talking to each other. I'll never forget how they looked at us. Wow. So when we came back home, it was like I had my life together. It was like, all right, now I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on my family. I'm going to do better at scheduling some things. And so the very next thing I scheduled was an appointment with my OBGYN to get my tubes tied. And I said, this is it. I finally got it. Everything's good. She said, you sure? I said, yep, I'm sure. So I signed the paper in the office, took the test in the office. It was negative. Went and had all of my pre-work done after that. And I was home sleeping on the couch and got a call. And they said, Miss Watts, you're not going to have your surgery on 31st. So I said, what? I said, I met my deductible. I must have my surgery on December 31st. Did my doctor get overbooked? You know, what happened? And she said, no, you're not going to have a surgery because you're having another baby. Ooh, I screamed. So I had my last child at 42. And we named her Joy. And I tell her all the time, she's a child I didn't even know I needed. She's a living, breathing, walking reminder to put my family first.
Yes.
No matter what the career changes are, how we move, we moving as a unit. And that was our reset.
You know, and the one thing that I like about the two of you is that you seem to have fun.
Well, that's the point
Yeah.
to
I
explain.
see the postings on social media, and I'm like, you know what? Those two know how to really enjoy each other and have fun.
We kind of did that anyway. We went through the fertility stuff. That was some miracles and some medicines and some God intervention. We didn't have taken the medicines for the other babies. So
No, they just kept coming.
Yeah,
After
just-
the first one, they kept coming.
showing it. And like the last one, when she mentioned career goals, we both have our goals and dreams. And we had moved to Atlanta when I was in seminary. And then we moved back to Vicksburg when I was at the church. And then we moved back to the coast because I was pastoring New Orleans. And then she said, you know, okay, my version. She's the aggressive person. It has to be her way or no way. And I'm
Oh, that's not.
I have jokes, but I'm quite passive. The jokes just it's my
Oh,
this was my passive aggressive way to establish boundaries of, you know, my paternity. So what happened? And I said, you need to be the superintendent or something because I'm tired of you trying to tell me what to do. And I agree for that. She said, you just want me to make some more money. I said, I want that too, but I need you to get some of this wanting to tell somebody what to do out the way because I'm not the one. I ain't your boss, you ain't my boss. We in this together. And so we actually went to counseling. And it was rough. Hey, my parents were married 50-something years. I wasn't going anywhere. I just knew it was an obstacle we got to get over. You know, she was fussing, she'll get mad, and I'm like, okay. I throw my little passive aggressive jokes. She go get angry. We got back to counseling, worked wonders. We went to counseling. I told the counselor, hey, I am not coming here to get money. Give me the tools I need to help fix this, and we'll be all right. She said, promise me you'll do 4 sessions. I said, sure. And in those, with 2 sessions, she gave us good work because we're both high GPA, high achievers. We worked hard to get our homework done. We went to the sessions. We did very well. And by the 3rd or 4th session, we just sat there and talked. And the lady said, you know, you all get on my nerves. I'm like, why? She said, because y'all did your homework. I said, I told you I'm not giving you all my money. The best thing about that relationship, there are several times in life when stresses get too much, we still contact it. When both of my parents passed in 2021, she did grief counseling. Like, we're like family, but she keep charging my insurance. So I don't know what kind of but the glue that keeps us together,
like family.
our goals and where we want to get to, we maintain our relation. At some point, work started being stronger than our relationship. She would come home working. She would come home being a superintendent. She would come home telling everybody what to do. And I'm like, hey, babe, we got to work on this. We got to do on this. And I do want to go back to the last.
it is. We gotta share the time. All right.
I didn't get the last part about the last baby. That's the only baby where we know when the stars and moons lined up.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I know the moment.
You know the moment. Okay. Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And so, but you know what? I'm glad that you felt safe enough and free enough to even consider counseling. Because you know the church does not advocate that.
Why?
No, we don't do that. You know, we got Jesus, we've got discipline, we have prayer, and there's no room for counseling. But I disagree. You know, and that's why I tell people who suffer with mental illness. Well, my church says I can't listen. It's okay not to be okay, but you can't stay that way. So go get the help you need. Go get the help you need, because if you don't, the church can't help you because they don't know how to manage those type of things and deal with those type of situations.
The main problem with the counseling at church.
Yeah.
People are not, depending on their position in church, many people are not willing to tell their pastor everything because they don't want their pastor judging them.
Right.
So they love to have advice and spiritual advice from pastors, but counseling and pastors, hear what nobody says. It doesn't really work in a smaller church environment. Maybe you're at a mega church, maybe you can go in and tell the pastor all your business, you don't know him. But I always say, as God gave us, after we prayed for 11 years to get a baby, and we prayed and asked God to heal stuff, it didn't work. I said, let's try some medicine. A little bit of medicine, here come the baby. And I said, you can pray, a little bit of counseling, here come the blessing.
Okay.
The thing about going out to an outside counselor, they don't know your business. You don't see them every Sunday. You can tell them everything. And they're able to give you clinical ways to heal yourself. And just as Jesus and God can work through our surgeons, God can work through our counselors, God can work through all those around us to get the same blessing.
Yes.
Because the church is out here, not just in our.
Wow. And that is so true. That is so true. Because, you know, a lot of pastors are not equipped to deal with things like that. And like you said, you know, especially in a small church, you can't do that. It's not a good and a safe place to be. When your marriage or your relationship is in trouble, you need somebody that can show up, help you through that. And the church is not always the answer. Not always the answer. And so I'm going to go back to Daniel. And you said something earlier about in your previous relationship, you were the cheater. And that's another upcoming podcast too. Why do people cheat? But anyway, so being that you were once that person, and then you went through the aftermath of the destruction of the first relationship, okay, what was your most learned and most valuable lesson from that experience?
When I came to when everything settled and the reality of it that we couldn't reconcile, and I really kind of sobered up to it. You know, it was a place where I spent a lot of time by myself, and it's like the Lord, he did a whole theatrical thing of all that I did, and put it before my eyes, and I really saw how despicable I was with my previous wife, and all of the different things that I did. Because I told Tasha in the very beginning, when I went into that marriage, I went into it with a girlfriend. So I ain't even start off right. I went in with a girlfriend. I had a girlfriend on the girlfriends. Nobody could lay a claim to me at all. And when I sobered up and I realized that, you know what, she really thought the highest of me and put me in high esteem and everything. And I realized just how much it wasn't that I just cheated on it. I broke trust and loyalty, and I injured her self-esteem in a lot of different things that I wounded her. And then I said that, you know, Lord, if you give me, you allow me to have another wife, those things that I did before and who I was and what I did, I never do that again, because I enjoy this freedom of not having guilt on me and this heaviness of having to feel terrible about what I did or all of the running around that I did. It was a heavy burden to be. I wasn't even hiding, because she knew, and she still stayed with me despite, until it was just too much for her to bear. And then the whole thing that I thought about what I was not to my children, you know, I was a good provider. And as far as out of all my cheating and running around, my family didn't suffer as in the sense of necessities and maintaining a place to stay, having food, clothing, and shelter. They had all of that, but they didn't have me. So in this present marriage, I let Tasha know from the beginning that she definitely have all of me, because I learned everything I shouldn't be and that I shouldn't do from all of the things that I did before. So she can't expect nothing but the all that God has placed in me for her, because that's what I wanted. I couldn't even really, I'll be honest, I know a lot of people like to talk about saying they prayed for what they wanted in a spouse. And I like, for men, I think it's a little different for men in saying what we pray for in a spouse. Because I had conversation with different ones, and I said, I don't know. I'm really not praying for certain things in a spouse, because as a man, I found that we look at like the present. I'd be asking God for what I want right now. Women, they ask God for what they want him to be for the future and going forward. And men, we kind of look at what I want presently. So I'm just like, yo, Lord, you know exactly what I need.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole thing. I talked with Tasha back and forth about this thing about Eve in the rib. I was like, he pulled you out of me, my rib. So you were inside of me. So you know the things that you need to push me in order to get me where I need to be, because you know all of the things that inwardly about me that I can't touch. You were inside, so God had you inside, so he lets you know the intricate parts of me, how to push me, where to push me, how hard, and all of that. So that's how I ended up telling her, like, hey, don't even worry about what you went through previously. I didn't say it in so many words. I'm here to heal you, but we healed each other. Actually, we healed each other by coming from different sides of the spectrum. Her being cheated on and me being the cheater, So we kind of really went into this thing really relaxed and not having any concerns. So that's how we know that God was the glue. This is ordained. God put this together, so we like make it be that triple braided cord.
All right. And I think most couples need to understand that it is work involved.
Because
I'm sorry,
had I not been delivered to where I need to be, like I said, I had already said, never do I want to be with a man that did the same thing that my ex did. But had I stood in my way and not allowed God to intervene and orchestrate this relationship, I would have been missing out on a lot.
Sure.
I would have been missing out on a lot because, I mean, I love him. I love him with everything in me. He's a good provider. He's a good man. And it's like you look at everything differently when you really get the one that is for you. Like, I would say the flowers. Like, he gives me flowers all the time. But it's not because he's done something that he needs to try and make up for. Like, my ex used to give me flowers, but it was because I was mad and he wanted to try and make up. But he just gives me flowers just because. So it's a big difference. And I just thank God for it all. I thank God for the struggles. I thank God for the deliverance. Because I really needed it. I really needed it. And had I not had my struggles, I would not know how to accept or embrace him in this relationship. So I just thank God for everything.
Wow. And it does take a fight. I mean, you have to fight daily and fight for the marriage if you want it to maintain. It's a fight because there's so many different elements that come at you and towards you. And there's temptation, and there's the gossip, and then there's the busybodies. You have to learn to band together and to fight. And I know when I was married, I'm like, you know what? I ain't fighting for all that. It ain't working for me. But it has to be a fight. It has to be a fight. And so, Corey and Toy, do you have any final thoughts or words you would like to share to the conversation tonight?
The fight is always under attack. I will say that.
Yeah.
Your relationship, your marriage, your bond, and always comes in the most sneaky, unsuspecting ways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that connection with God to recognize what those things are, you could be in a lot of trouble.
Yes, and you're right. It's always sneaky when it comes. And it's like the Bible says, the thief in the night. That's exactly what it's like. And you will be surprised, who is envious of what the two of you may have as a couple. They're looking from the outside looking in, but they don't know the struggle.
Right.
And the things that you've endured to be where you are today. So I thank you so much for joining us. Pastor Corey, any final remarks?
My final remark, Lauryn Hill had a lyric. It said, loving you is a battle.
All right.
And sometimes it is a battle, but it's a battle to stay together. I listened to how we, in relation to our co-hosts, tonight. They went through some stuff, so they knew exactly what to find. And when they found it, God put them together, and they're ready to roll. We didn't know what we want, but we knew God brought us together. And through our marriage and through career changes, through finance changes, through counselors, we've learned to adjust to become what each other need in that life. And that God is the glue to keep us together. But all these changes are the other adhesive parts that keep us more together. Being married, being in a career, we find time for the kids. We purposefully date. We purposely find us a nanny. You go somewhere and we're going to go have us a good time. You know, things that help draw us together when career stuff gets too heavy. When goals get too heavy, you got to find a way to relax. Having some good friends who are in a similar stage in life as us has helped us. God gave us all these elements. Sometimes being a pastor, I want to get around somebody and I can be good old laughing Corey. I don't have to be pastor. And she doesn't have to be first lady. We can be regular and have a good. So you will see us on Facebook going to a party.
Yes.
You will see us taking us a vacation. You will see me dancing to music that's second.
Yes.
You know, love and happiness is love and happiness.
That's right.
It can
And you
still
know what? Why should you have to give all that up? That's all part of life. And that's what life is about, enjoying yourself. So why should you, as the pastor, as you say, give that up?
And we don't. And we purposefully.
And you should not.
And we purposefully put it online.
Mhm.
Purposefully put it on Facebook.
Like I said, that's the one thing. And when I see you guys post, I'm like, you know what? Now they know how to have fun. And they have fun. And that's one of the things I enjoy. When I see your post on social media, I'm like, look at them. There they go again. There they go again. But you know what? That's okay, because what you're showing is to your congregation and to others that, hey, just because you're saved, sanctified, and filled doesn't mean you have to live a dead life.
That's right. The joy of the Lord is our strength.
That's right.
People are weak because they don't have enough joy.
There you go.
They blame it on the Lord and they blame it on sanctification. It's like you be sanctified and relaxed and go have a good time somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And still love the Lord.
Amen.
God, I was dancing with the Lord. I'm gonna dance until the Lord take me home.
All right. All right. So I just want to thank the two of you so much for joining me here at the Speakeasy tonight for Couples Night. We have this series here every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. And the title is called Dating and Christian Relationships, and tonight is Couples Night. And so I thank each of my couples. I wish you the best. I want you to continue in the fight for love and happiness. And to my listening audience, may God continue to bless you richly today, tomorrow, and always. And have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.